say outright this is not a promotion or an ad of any kind, but an online subscription to this is only $2 a month, and they have almost every Junji Ito English published collection. So if you just want to go on a tear and binge read a ton of Junji Ito in a month, you can do it digitally for just $2. Once again, not an ad, just want to tell you guys what told me. There are obviously other ways to read these online that are a little less legal, but I don't need to tell you the details. There is a ton more I could say about reading hundreds of Junji Ito manga, but I can't fit everything into this intro. So I did it on my second channel. Yep, I started a second channel called Group Speaks. Basically a more casual format where I talk about media I enjoy with a personal touch rather than the heavy information bits on the main channel. So do me a favor and go check it out if you're interested. It would mean a lot. Anyway, I'm sure you hate my ugly mask mug by now, so let's just get into the massive Junji Ito mega compilation. This is every single Junji Ito manga explained in one non-stop marathon. Okay, so let's move into our first collection of stories here called Shiver, which released in 2017. Well, why not start it off with Shiver since that's the name of the collection? Fair warning, this story is one of the most unsettling of Ito's work in the area of body horror, and if you happen to have trypophobia, the fear of clustered small holes, you might want to skip this one. A teen boy, Yuji, has a strange experience one day upon seeing his
Hello, my friend. I can't believe that someone joined like literally the second I started the game. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You were here the other day, weren't you? Ever since I've been very busy, so I've been starting stream and then doing something else or falling asleep or so there was a couple streams where literally nothing happened at all. I apologise if you saw those. I can't remember how much I've actually collected, so I don't know how much I need to run around back here. I'm going to just double check. I know I can't use this yet.
杀子之仇，不共戴天。
This is gonna be easy.
儿啊，你爹没了，到你立功赎罪的时候了。孽畜，是那猴子！我是你。
Wasn't even slightly high. Spirit. No spirit? It's like a secret here. I can't remember it right now. I swore there was something around here.
I'm really glad I found this story because although it's not as outright terrifying as some of those other words, Greece made me feel really uncomfortable the entire review. And also, see this entire video. It follows a girl named Yumi.
Use big head. Ah, right, okay. Thank you. Which, where exactly? Here? Oh, I need to recharge it. Let me retry it and I'll come back. I knew there was something. I just couldn't remember where. I was about to fucking Google it. Use mod and play. Use mod? I'm playing on PlayStation, bro. No way can my PC run there. PC's dog shit. No, can't get to that yet. Use mod and PlayStation. Hang on, dude. I'm gonna have to get my phone up to read that. I read all the comments on my screen, so when people put long text, I can't read it. You can use mod on PlayStation. What do you mean? I'm sure I can use mod on PlayStation, but it's not something I'm going to be able to easily set up in the next, like, fucking 10 minutes, is it? I'm probably going to need to buy something, like some special cable or something. I mean, I'd love to use mods, but sadly, I don't think it's an option. Unless you can tell me right now exactly how to do it. No, charge my fucking head up. Well done. I've already beat this game before. This isn't my first time playing. But when I last played, I did absolutely everything. Like, I fought every boss, I collected all the weapons, and I did everything. And I plan to do the exact same thing this time around. Because I love this game. I think it's fucking fantastic. I think it's a fucking crime that it won Game of the Year. Fucking lost that Astro bot. I'm never ever gonna stop being upset about that. How many times have you played this game? Like, I maybe played it like fucking like 50 times. Wait, I'm gonna guess. You played the game 6 to 7 times. Right, okay, where am I using the big head on the wall? Is it here? Or is it here? Game was so good. It still is. It's fucking fantastic. How many times have you played it? I can't remember what ending I did. I did the, I remember fighting a version of myself and becoming the true Wukong. And I also fought the hardest boss in the game, Erlang. You only played it twice, damn. You beat it in 20 hours. To be fair, I could probably beat it in 20 hours if I just fucking ran through and didn't bother with collecting, like, many items and shit like that. Where am I using this big head, by the way? Like, can you tell me? I can't remember. I feel like it should be here. Fuck it. Oh no. Aha! I was fucking exactly right.
It's hard to tell if each movie takes place directly after the Down or if this is different Oshikiri entirely, as there's no mention of such items. But either way, we follow Oshikiri, who is still living alone in the mansion. He meets a new group of friends who are into the supernatural, particularly the idea of alternate dimension. When Oshikiri tells them about the strange noises from doing in his house, they think it could have something to do with every dimension and help them investigate. One day, the group looks out the window and see an Oshikiri doppelganger burning corpses outside.
Sorry, I've got something that I'm using to document everything, so I remember not to fucking miss anything.
世人都晓神仙好，唯有功名忘不了。古今将相在何方？荒冢一堆草木了。
Just gonna go fight Luong now. Luong.
After 3 days of Fuji missing, Oshikiri suddenly hears her voice and finds her in the hallway, now unmasked.
Where's my boys, man? Okay. Let's go back to step one.
Missing his weird photo, and when he shows him the hole in the wall, the corpse has vanished. The phone rings, and to Oshikiri's shock, it's his mother telling him that they would be returning home later than they thought. But then who the hell is he? He's always told him about a dimension. And then they have dimension with so the creatures are so distant. It's something we didn't kill before, and they hear Oshikiri from their dimension crying for help. They find his face out of the wall, and when they try to help him, they merge with him and are sucked in. Apparently, this is the consequence of crossing between the Oshikiri then realizes what the noise was he had been hearing. The souls trapped within the walls in the mansion. And in one last horrifying image, we see the victims crying out from the walls. Now let's move into the next collection, Deserted. This collection was released in 2021 and actually has some of my favorite stories in it. So let's get to it. Fire. Firehouse is those earliest works. It's also pretty disturbing, especially if blood makes it true. Again, Norman never knew the lawyer arrived at his summer home mansion, where the girl would serve as his new secretary. However, things are off to a weird start with dinner is served, and it's completely made up of raw insects and dirt. The man says he has something special for the girl and comes out with a glass of what appears to be blood. He reveals that this is his own blood, and when she refuses to drink it, he begins to try to force it down her throat. She slaps the glass out of his hands, and this is when things get bonkers. The man removes the bandages around his neck to reveal several wounds and gouges. He pulls out a knife and straight up stabs himself in the neck. With blood now gushing out of his body, he chases the girl, demanding that she drink it so that she will bring close to his blood and consume him into her beauty. What a crazy thing. Actually, the hand servants all have to
这脚力。
吾有因头悬是曹河，吾有因四渎师管何故？吾有因追色王尾，吾有因慈悲颠倒何故？灵隐释然何？木生如烟，故长雷电，击背而歌。
你不死！
Oh wait, I missed out.
As he continues to listen to the tape, he comes to the realization that this woman must be the incarnation of death. And before he knows it, he finds he's now standing at the top of the building, being convinced to death as well. The long hair in the ad. Evil hair is a classic trope in Japanese horror stories due to its relevance in culture and mythology. Yuji Ito is no stranger to tapping into this for his stories, and this is a ship on one of the It begins with the TV girl and Champion views Sapphire doing. When she gets home, she burns a picture for two of them and recalls a memory of the boyfriend telling her she should grow her hair out. At the same time, Chimmy's sister mentions hearing mice in her hair. The next day, Chimmy wakes up to find a dead mouse wrapped in her hair, which is pretty horrific in and of itself. Well, with the combination of the dead mouse and the connection to her ex-boyfriend, she decides she'll cut off her hair. The sister goes to grab a pair of scissors, and when she returns, she finds that Chimmy is dead. Her head is completely missing from her body. I didn't expect that, and only at the halfway point of the comic. Days later, the younger sister goes to the attic with her dad to see if any mice are caught in the traps. Well, they don't find mice, but instead, Champion's head dangling by the hair. And even worse, it slips out of the house and makes its way to the ex-boyfriend's apartment for revenge. Scripted love. Scripted love starts out with a man breaking up with his girlfriend. As a consolation, he gives her a tape of himself so that she can remember him by. What a dirtbag. Well, she thinks so too and grabs a kitchen knife. We then rewind a bit and learn how they met. The man is the leader of a theater troupe and starts dating the girl who is the newest member. Only problem is the dude is a complete player and cycles through the women of his troupe, breaking up with them and then leaving them the same tape. Now back to the present, the girl has actually stabbed him. In shock, she doesn't know what to do, so she just plays the tape with him. Turns out it comes with a script, and whoever watches it can act out dialogue to simulate a conversation with him. As the girl falls back in love with this version of the man on tape, the real guy wakes up, apparently not really dead. As he pleads for help, the girl declares that she doesn't need him anymore, as now she has the video version of him that'll never break her heart. She then picks up a glass bottle and finishes the job. The reanimator sword. This one is interesting because it almost has an action fantasy feel to it. Keiji just wander out at night, looking to spot and maybe catch some ghostly specters. To their surprise, they actually see a swarm of them flying through the air. Keiji ditches his friend, who is too afraid to continue. His pursuit of the specters leads him to an old temple where he encounters a scary-looking man with a sword. The man says, "You saw, didn't you? Now you must cease living." So Keiji runs like hell and ends up falling off the cliff. He wakes perfectly fine in his home and learns that while he was passed out, his grandfather died.
I'm going to upgrade my drink today. Forgot how much.
around their shoulder of corpses, and yet they managed to use the sword as its new bearer. Our father's left. This story tells the sort of celebratory independence, but never at the same time. The young son's story is such a that's the teaching the time the second son is supposed to become much stranger as we look out into the night running through the summer day. Each so fascinating to me that strange that the second son right out the independence. So
That's why I found one of those waiting in one things. Yeah, I did.
They must fight Mr. Toto as he attempts to control Mia one last time. In the end, Mr. Toto realizes he's failed. The mischief that he has had a rough childhood, always working, never being able to play. So he lived through his children and took Mia to the park that day, learned the controller, but had fun himself. In the end, Mr. Toto goes to the theme park alone.
Oh shit, yeah, I think I said he died. I'm pretty sure he was here, but can't quite remember. I think I might be wrong.
还玉叶琼江养老夜老。
Come on, what?
Next time she sees him, she threatens him, telling him he better not tell his mom about any of this. Even though Now says he won't tell, Kuriko decides to test him. She then throws the ball in front of a vicious dog and demands that he put the ball back, saying if he's telling the truth, the dog won't hurt him. We don't see exactly what happened, but it appears that Now was attacked by the dog, and Kuriko completes her story by saying that Now then moved away. However, she tells her fiancé that she recently ran into him as an adult. At this point, you might expect Now to be disfigured from the dog attack, but no, he's actually quite handsome, and more than that, he seems to forgive Kuriko for all the horror she inflicted on him. Kuriko then informs her fiancé that the wedding is off, and that she's actually in love with Now. This isn't the end of the story, however. After the two are married and have a child together, Now suddenly leaves one day, never to return. Kuriko is left to raise her son alone. In a moment of resentment toward her needy son, who's the spitting image of young Now, she suddenly realizes that this was all part of the plan. Now married her and even had a child with her, all just to abandon her in the act of revenge. At this moment, Kuriko snaps. She dresses up in her old clothes and puts her hair into pigtails, and then tells her son that they're going to be going to the park, presumably to bully him the same way she did to Now. Definitely one of the saddest Junji Ito tales I've read. And finally, Deserter. This has been one of my favorite stories I've discovered so far. It's about a family who's keeping a Japanese army deserter, Furukawa, hidden in their house. He comes down once a day for a meal, but otherwise must stay hidden in the storeroom. During World War II, Furukawa ditched the military and begged his friend Adira to hide him. At this time, Adira's younger sister, Kimie, grew fond of Furukawa and would visit him in the storeroom until her brother got pissed off and forbade her from seeing him. One day, while leaving the storeroom, an air raid took place, killing Kimie. Adira blamed Furukawa for this and kept him in the storeroom even 8 years later, long after the war had ended. Him and his other sisters put on a show and pretend that the war has continued all of this time, forcing Furukawa to stay hidden. They even have a friend come by dressed as a Japanese officer, pretending to look for deserters just to scare him. Damn, that is messed up, man. One night, the village is setting on fireworks, and Adira decided to tell her take that as a sister.
小老弟切记。一分醉酒，10分醉。
She forces herself to throw up and eventually even pukes blood. After this, she begins having nightmares with spies touching her.
跟上，别乱了阵脚！快告诉大王，那猴子又来了！ 古有因头悬是草河，古有因四毒。还真有不识祈祷的报应。
Thinking maybe this whole thing was a dream. However, Tawny was in fact hit by the train, and despite his remains being picked up and buried, Nami could hear his voice calling her name and swarms of bats flying around the tracks. As she moves in close, she finds Tawny's head. His eyes open wide as the bats.
First time again. And first time I every single boss.
She encounters a teen boy she found. His mother believes it has something to do with his dead dog, as the dog was buried next to where the boy is frozen. Meanwhile, Asana's boss appears earthbound in her apartment. With no other option, she attempts to sleep, but wakes up from a nightmare. She explains to her boss that she hasn't been able to sleep since an incident a few years ago when a man broke into her apartment and assaulted her. Now she moves constantly, feeling unsafe. As the days pass, the bound people begin solidifying and turning into human statues. Asana tries desperately to convince the teen to move and that he must get over the grief of losing his dog. The boy then admits the truth. His dog didn't die of natural causes, but instead was killed by the boy in an accident. This is when it begins to click. The people are bound from an emotional attachment, but rather a guilty conscience. We see several cameras hinting at the real reason the earthbound are stuck, including a pretty disturbing image of a dead baby in a trash bag back away. Asana returns to her apartment and confronts her boss. Apparently, she talked to her landlord and discovered that a woman was attacked and killed in her apartment building after a man snuck in, implying that her boss was the culprit and was taught to be the as she pieces together the attack her all these years ago.
Undertale. I wonder if that's
The story follows the Thorpe family after a tragedy. During the family's day out on a hot drive, they were randomly attacked by a pair of trucks. Thorpe followed the daughter and managed to escape the attack.
definitely a real weapon. Dude. Nonsense.
These letters increased in quantity and
Not an increase. Or do you to, usually get the fleet, right?
and the man is reportedly still in jail. Despite this, he reappears at the house night after night, and finally one of those brothers snaps. He attacks the man, whose head caves into a pile of food along with the rest of his body. Returning back to the brother's revenge, the brother continues to beat the phantom of the pieces every night. When Marco tries to stop him, the brother remains violent, pushing him away. A few days later, Marco finds the brother dead, having taken his own life. Marco continues to see the phantom night after night stuck in a never-ending fire. However, the trial finally concluded, and the man was put to death. That night, Marco waited anxiously. Doorbell clicked by the door. When she opened the door, no one was there, and that was the last she saw of the phantom. Not exactly a happy ending. In fact, this story is just soaked in tragedy from start to finish. Yeah, the phantom eventually left, but only after the girl's whole family died, except for the mother who's still stuck in the home. I gotta say, one thing about detail is that definitely doesn't really get out of it. This story follows adventurers who are investigating rooms of the hidden village in the valley. It started by a lone man called groups, with each taking residence on one side of the valley, separated by a river running through the middle. As the adventurers look down the valley, they see that it's covered in broken glass, and it appears that each side of the valley had erected hundreds of mirrors pointed at each other before they eventually all shattered. As an experiment, the group decides to set up a large mirror on each side of the valley. Once the mirrors are set, the leader of the crew, Algamura, uses his telescope to gaze into the mirror on the opposite side, and the crew begin hearing a strange echo bouncing back and forth through the valley. As Algamura catches the reflection of the mirror on his side, he witnesses the infinity mirror for Joseph. Then, strangely enough, he begins to see into the past, and we get into the good story of Mirror Valley. We see the villagers glaring at each other from opposite sides of the valley. It appears that one side is called Devil's Gate, and the other is called Devil's Factory, and that the echo from before is present here as well. Then we're introduced to a young man, Deo, as he sneaks into Devil's Gate. He's stopped by a group from the opposite plan who glare at him, which actually seems to hurt him. Later, pulls out a mirror, however, and casts the reflection back at them, and their own scares cause them to freak out. Turns out, the Deo is moved out with his secret love, Toyomi. Deo asks Toyomi to marry him, so that they can run away together. But because the lovers are on opposite plans, their love is forbidden, and they'll cut apart. Soon after this, the couple drive to find broken down the river separating the village. Apparently, the two had died, together again after that. The villagers then began seeing the ghostly apparitions of the Deo and Toyomi passionately loving each other. Night after night, both clans witnessed this, and it fueled their hate even more, blaming the other side for the tragedy. It's revealed that the echo the crew was hearing was actually the sound of hatred bouncing back and forth between the clans, and now that echo has gotten much louder. Finally, the sound of hatred peaked and shattered all the ears in the village. Okamura, snapping out of the vision, realizing the same is happening now in the present. He grabs her rock and attempts to smash the mirror, but before he does, he sees his own reflection glaring back at him full of hatred. It seems the hatred that the valley harbored is now seeping into the present as well. As the mirror breaks, the adventurers shatter, just like the glass, and the valley is silent once again. There's no going to be a ghost. This story begins with a man driving on the river and suddenly he drives into the hospital, and the doctor says she seems perfectly fine. In fact, the body is being closed. But since she won't speak, they have no idea what happened. The next day, the woman shows up to the man's house. You can see that the man she was with is married to the daughter's husband. The woman, named Misaki, came by to thank him for helping them the night before, and explained that she was actually part of an independent horror film and got cast in the theater because she was the husband's book. As she would eat, she still said that was created for the backstage. She was on her father and mother died while she was still in the room, and she was born with her mother's dead body. Her soul could move on, and so she turned into a ghost and breastfed Misaki. So now she can't be satisfied unless she feeds on ghosts. Long story short, this girl straight up hates spirits. Shiguro gets weirded out and decides to call it her day off, but arrives home one day to find that Misaki has told his wife about their affair. Well, of course, his wife broke the news at the accident before taking her own life. Misaki continues to follow Shiguro around after this, saying she wants to feed his guardian spirits, and that he now has two new ghosts, Shiguro's wife and baby. But at crazy few panels, Misaki leaps into the air, grabbing at what seems like nothing. She seems to have finally caught whatever she was after, and finds an empty space. Shockingly, blood sprays out, and Shiguro hears the screams of his wife and child. That's pretty horrifying. With his guardian spirits not gone, Shiguro's life goes downhill. He loses his house and job, and eventually ends up in the hospital treating his wife. Here we see Misaki, licking her lips and waiting to consume his soul. Life-breaking issues. After taking all the married couple, both
Oh, fuck, oh, yeah.
Reads through Bora's diaries and learns more about his childhood. His mother was kind and beautiful, and would often read Bora her favorite book, The Man of the Winter Wind. When Bora was 4, his mother left with the man, however, and his father went completely nutty. He would constantly read Bora the most terrifying novels, including a book called Spiny House, considered to be the scariest book ever made. His father eventually went completely mad and was put in a mental hospital. Back in the present, Bora was instantly thankful. First, he sees a beautiful woman. She mentions that the only family her husband has is his father, and there's no point in contacting him as he's locked up. In the final disturbing image, we see Laura's father.
So,
One day she hears the woman's song on the radio. Her name is Yukanade, and she's blown up since singing on the street with a #1 hit album. Turns out Yu's performing a live concert, and Tamio buys a ticket. Once again, the performance is full of hate, and Yu completely loses it in this breaks the
Too easy. I remember this. Got a nice fucking difficult fight.
Those are box squatters, they stand for the war. After this, when Mr. tries to track down the war back, he's searching the crossroads where the murders happen. Then, inside, he builds a secret new towns and entering the good fortunes to live that war. Eventually, he goes to the red war to battle the power. After the war, all these people are out of power. The really bad Mr. is still the war and trying to build the power. So, the war the Falcons have only keys in this time. That wraps up the first chapter, so let's move into the woman stretch. The new story of the woman she asked them to do it, but she loved giving the woman he was out and he guns waiting the door with the woman. He got there and the woman answers to a house captive. The woman went inside. He was so excited to answer that she won't even have a conversation. Even when the door gets her answer, she continues to return and ask the house over and over. When the door is bothered, he yells at the woman telling her to get out. The woman beats him. She continues to stress to his head. She believes this. At one point, she admits she had to stop. He's so obsessed with the whole thing. She screamed down at the door. She realizes she can't hear. It's hands at its head. The big children of the doctor doesn't squeeze it. The show it. It's making it fun for the as creating which jobs for yourself or you can get the previous issue. The next day, escape, but when he gets home, he finds black clothes and even in the question. The box probably feels wrong. The chasing the big of the car, this station, the connection went better, and even from that spectrum videos, at large using piece of viewers over even the world, seem to be doing the part of the videos like super it's a big lot of using crazy with broken confusion, broken music, this that says this isn't the point. It's more, it's not that. This chapter starts with the distance of this one part of characters who still think that the real life is really hard and living in a very different Mr. Beats herself. Mr. tells her, oh yes, he loves her so much. But this man drives him into the lecture. Usually it's how to get that when you have to do this work, but if she can't, then she should just forget about it. But they don't really accept it. They easily get over whatever she did. Which I should overnight friend if you get killed, or even their enemy. They took care of it. That leads us to our second legendary story titled Soul. It tells that if the oldest brother finally came to head off to work to support the family, then in the party to get secret out of their room. This happens. This is the problem. And then Sasha, and she says she's trying to talk to her here. Then Sasha is able to do a magic to his house, only to get all kinds of supernatural things. So Sasha shows up the next day and starts taking pictures around the house. Even if he could do his own experience. After he starts to get up, she figures his discipline, and she goes to shop for food and the present. Recently, the younger father gets upset and goes into a crazy phase. Actually live in the house, so they can be on call to run the phantom pain spots at any moment. Zeki is particularly sensitive to pain, and he finds the longer he stays in the house, the lower his pain levels becomes. His family barely feels it. In fact, due to the nature of the job, they've acquired various injuries that they leave untreated as they don't notice their pain. This actually leads to the father dying due to untreated pain. The mother pleads for the crew to stay, saying she'll continue to pay them, and if she runs out of money, she'll be to anyone who doesn't leave. At this point, the mansion smells disgusting from infected wounds, but the crew refuses to go to a hospital to Zeki begs them because they think he just wants the mansion to himself. Eventually, everyone dies off, including the boy with the illness, leaving only Kozeki, who now seems to absorb all the pain in the house and become just like the boy became the real one. This story follows Yuki, a teen girl who is insecure about her body. She's afraid to get into a swimsuit because she feels she has no curves. She learns from a classmate about a surgery to have some of her ribs removed, giving her a more narrow waist. She runs into her brother's girlfriend, Ruriko, who seems distressed. She hears a strange instrument being played at night that seems to dig into her very soul. So Ruriko, Yuki, and her brother decide to track down the strange voice. Here they encounter a woman playing with the instrument. She leaves it on the bench and disappears. Upon further investigation, this instrument seems to be made of a human rib. Ruriko freaks the hell out and breaks it to bits. The next day, she's found dead with all of her ribs missing. Well, I personally wouldn't be doing anything involving ribs after that, but you know, Yuki's trying to look snatch, so she goes in for the rib removal surgery. Before the surgery, the doctor tells her that comes out with positive results, but shortly after, she starts hearing the disturbing sounds that were people. She tracks it down and she once again found the woman. Turns out it's the original woman who went crazy after the operation, and the noise is actually coming from her chest. She removes her shirt to show a really disturbing sight. Apparently, she had tried to replace her ribs with really clothes and were all tangled up with wires in her chest. It's a putrid in cahoots with the woman, they start trying to kill Yuki, hoping to try the operation again with furtherance instead. Luckily, Yuki's brother shows up at the nick of time, and they manage to capture the doctor. Unfortunately, though, the good woman escapes. When the story comes to a close, as Yuki says, even now on quiet nights, she can hear the disturbing sound. Memories of real proof. Alright, now, after all that pain, tragedy, bloodshed, and gore, let's take a break with one of Ito's purely comedic tales. Memories of real proof is an autobiographical account of Ito at a festival when he was a child. It's pretty wholesome, honestly, as at first he's afraid to buy it because he thinks people will make fun of him, but eventually he does, and he gets a good fright out of it. My favorite part is at the beginning when he describes in detail how amazing the fake proof is. It's made up of one of those longer stories released in a single volume. It's also one of his stranger cases. I mean, all of his stories are pretty weird, but this one just feels different than his other works. It's a little more sci-fi. See what I mean? Let's just jump in. The story starts with a young couple, Tadashi and his girlfriend Kaori, on vacation in Okinawa. They get into a lover's spat when Kaori tells Tadashi his breath stinks and won't kiss him because she's sensitive to smells. After this argument, Kaori begins smelling something strange while in the shower. The putrid smell worsens, and the couple sees something stutter around the house. Tadashi finally corners it behind a dresser and smashes the thing. When he looks to see what kind of menace was causing so much trouble, he's shocked to see a disturbing sight, a fish with legs. Tadashi puts the creature in a bag and beats it with a rock to make sure it's dead. Kaori comes down with a fever and insists she still smells the creature, demanding Tadashi move it far away. But it's gone missing. Chases her down the beach. As Tadashi catches up to her, they witness dozens of walking fish coming down out of the sea. The next day, Tadashi tells the cops what happened, but they don't believe him. Meanwhile, we see a fishing boat get overrun with the fish, and even scarier, some beachgoers see a great white shark making its way onto shore, also. He's also good at shark.
妈了个巴子，咋又这么迟啊？东西放下，赶紧回去下崽儿。下回再说迟了，耽搁了大王练功的进度，老子亲自把你的傻儿子洗干净，送进去。那老瓜送没来，你这拐子脸的小和尚哪儿冒出来的？管他娘的，老子先尝两口。 是。
Swear to God, first time every single fucking bar.
今天即是全屋里，大手天棚造虎旗，枪刀剑剑黄不比，时候是你不是你。小施主筋骨清奇，正响应着铜头铁臂。
He rushes to his uncle's place, and Miss Yoshiyama tells him she must show him something, saying she can't keep lying to him. She brings him to his uncle's lab to reveal that he never brought Kaoru to the hospital. Instead, he's kept her here to experiment on. She's strapped to a strange device that somewhat resembles the walking legs the fish use, and she has tubes up her mouth and ass. While the doctor shows up looking like a complete villain at this point, as he's replaced his arm with a metal claw. He explains that he's found out how the legs function on the fish, as they run on the gas produced by the bodies, giving them an endless supply of fuel. He's replicated this device using Kaoru. The machine holding her freaks out and escapes the lab, stabbing the doctor along the way. Tadashi tries chasing after Kaoru and finds that many of the fish are decaying to the point that the legs no longer function. He also finds many more infected humans on the streets, bloated and expelling gas. He then witnesses a horrible sight. Dozens of the walking legs with humans now on top of them. It seems with the legs losing their shape.
世人都爱拼厉害，偏偏破门敲不开。身逢奇术比日月，三味妙法张三海。要想见那黄毛书经，必须要得心口令。一个不够凑一双。 那所来父母不是眼对上。
来的刁民！
Is that a weird old lady lives in the house, but no one's ever seen her. That night, Hiroshi goes to bed in his new room upstairs and begins hearing a woman's voice calling, "Young man, young man." He wakes up to investigate and finds it's coming from the weird house next door. He looks into the window across the way and sees a truly terrifying sight. This picture actually kind of jump scared me the first time I heard the footage. The woman next door is hideous, resembling a goblin more than a human. The woman requests the man come over to her house and says she'll leave the door unlocked. Hiroshi, completely disturbed, closes his window and tries to sleep. The next night, he hears the woman again. She's upset that he never came to visit, and with a creepy laugh, she says, "Maybe I should come visit you." The boy rushes to the window to find the woman holding a laundry roller. She tells him to grab the other end so she can use it to cut clothes. Hiroshi is like, "Yeah, right," and slaps the fell out of her hands. He runs down to his parents' room and tells them that Next night, the boy hears the voice once again. The woman says, "I'm coming over soon." If you haven't had enough creepy fish after Geo, Wash the Shore's got your back. A massive 100-foot-long sea creature washes up on shore driving a massive Scientists examine the great beast. They find that its skin is transparent. The young man encounters a woman who explains that she was also mysteriously gone here, but it probably has something to do with the Did you bond over the fact that they both also but she also says there's something Spots her fiance in the bunch, although he's clearly lost his mind. It appears that these humans were able to survive by observing nutrients in the fish and have been floating in a spell for years. It's a little unclear why the man and woman are having dreams that suggesting what the people inside of the fish's belly are experiencing. But it's got that classic cosmic horror vibe to it that I like so much with YouTube. The strange tale of the tunnel. The story begins with a man named Goro coming back to his hometown to find a tunnel. It then begins recounting his childhood, starting with the death of his mother, who mysteriously walked into the tunnel to escape on a train. Apparently, this wasn't the first time someone walked into the train, so after this incident, they closed down the tunnel. A couple years later, Goro and some school friends enter the tunnel trying to scare each other when they suddenly find a young girl. This turns out to be Goro's sister, Mari, and she has no idea how she got there. Goro's father tells him there is something strange about the tunnel and to keep Mari away from it. One winter day, Goro and his father find that Mari is missing. She stayed home from school with a fever and then suddenly disappeared. Goro's father runs off to the tunnel and tells Goro to stay home in case she comes back, but after a couple of hours, Goro finally heads for the tunnel himself. As he travels down the tunnel, he finds a large wall and door blocking the path. The sign reads Cosmic Ray Observatory and Research Lab. Inside, he finds a group of scientists, along with Mari, but no sign of his father. Guru insists his father must be here somewhere, as he saw his tracks heading out into the tunnel. One of the researchers, Koyama, drives the kids into the tunnel to help search for the father. She explains that they're researching cosmic rays, and that they have gotten some really strange readings inside of the tunnel. Unfortunately, they never find their father, and he never comes back home either. On top of that, Mari repeatedly shows up at the observatory with no memory of how she got there. The professor and the researchers have also gotten really worn down and unnaturally tired since beginning the expedition. When they return, they look at it again and see what look like racing creatures. One day, is missing again, and Goro calls them out, and they're going to kill him. The Goro arrives, he finds it after everyone else researchers are sneaking into the wall and
没看脸，你们看天！王之计，容不得差错。抢线！
says tastes terrible, like copper or gold. He feels the repeated vibrations again and runs into Rio. She says she's gonna pray at a shrine. parents with my Julia is and knows about life in the sphere by such value to him. Each of our gives in and gives him the value and the love. So that the direction of girl so which is fine, but he's only the girl so which he did not know about the letter, and so reaching it reading out loud, how so which he got the eye. Reaching says that she used to which he weakness the light on his face and the temple of this view. He says the rest of it should be good, but there's one thing she can't stop thinking about. He's pretty sure that the skill will go for it, so reach first. So reach is hungry. This story takes place just after the last near the end of some play. Soichi's teacher, Mr. Yamagita, says he has some concern about Soichi. He asks if Soichi can stay with him, hoping he can really help him. Then Maya reluctantly agrees as she's worried about Soichi's future. This is how it's all as that time, Soichi can be back on his feet. The next day, Mr. returns from the Tokyo and the food food that Yuji incites his friend. Mr. Yamagita comes back by saying that first for Soichi to come with him, obviously ignored the work, so he asks if he could come to Soichi, hoping to instill some healthy habits into his home. They're playing in the bad game, but Soichi sets up a secret affair in front of him again. Still, Mr. Yamagita doesn't give it up, and the next day he asks Soichi what he likes to do. Soichi tells him he wants to summon and they can do so by talking to a certain doll. Yanagita plays along and asks the doll if he'll marry someone beautiful. To his surprise, the doll responds, telling him, "You'll be alone all of your life." Reminds me of a certain boy in black. Anyway, the teacher dismisses it as Soichi doing some pretty impressive ventriloquism. Over the next few days, the other family members notice something is off as Mr. Yanagita seems drained. His face is sunken in and he has bags under his eyes. Michino warns Yanagita to be careful as Soichi has strange powers. He tells her that when he was a child, he was extremely difficult to deal with, but due to a teacher that didn't give up on him, he changed his ways, and he feels he must repay the favor. Michino says she thinks there's probably no help in Soichi, but if there is any untwisted bone in his body, it's his feelings for Yuriko, the girl in his class that he likes. Mr. Yanagita shows up the next day with Yuriko and leaves her and Soichi alone to talk. What kind of parents are just letting this dude kick their kids out and about like that? Anyway, Soichi is clearly flustered, and the girl gets up to leave, calling him a creep. Next thing you know, we see some nails slide out of Soichi's mouth, and he shoots the poor girl in the arm. Mr. Yanagita chases Soichi into the attic, where he finds him squirting a weird candle trial. Even weirder is a life-size doll resembling Mr. Yanagita. Soichi tells him that the doll will begin moving soon, as it's been absorbing his teacher's soul for a while now. In the final page, we see Soichi climb down from the attic, followed by a blank-faced Yanagita, who has nails coming out of his mouth. Which leads us to Teamwork Talk. This is the episode for one, and it's also the first one that goes downright crazy. Instead of just subtle forces and mischief, this story displays Soichi's persons in a much bigger way. It puts out the last chapter, with Soichi successfully transforming Mr. Yanagita's spirit into a flashback, and it lasts through the last with the teacher under his control, Soichi becomes a member to his body, gets away with everything. Plus, he and the top teacher being part of actually love him. And then she's doing so that people could do it and recommend Soichi as well as questioning Mr. Yanagita. That's to read the fact that Mama questions the teacher's subject matter of his complete nonsense. He seems to have laughed on the street. It's actually a few minutes before he never remember that Soichi's friend. He's often taken to class and the police stop Soichi's back. It's not from looking at the just pops and runs away. Right before he escapes over, walking out. By the short, it stays in the trail. And Soichi is really happy back to the world, and thinking about that turns out it's great news. They begin to wildly spiking at the boy before being stopped by the soda. Looking at the few dollars First, if you look at the actually sliced off one of his fingers, and under inspection, it's going to be stopped up. Walking the principal's office, the clock back again is like shaking the principal out after running away. Meanwhile, Wakayama was office told him the soda after a perfect. When she finally shows up, we see that beautiful the office he's chasing the picture. Soda, we find the clock replica of Wakayama. Soichi finds the school and looks to see the tails of every region behind the building. Next to the clock from Soda, so it's not close to the work with the front place, and the meantime, Soichi brings the clock Wakayama to life. That's what this guy is going to do. he wants to play with something. Luigi gets this again. He's focused on the field. He's permanent in a crazy sequence when the big walking down the left screen down. The server mistakes him for a leader at the end, goes into the defense. He gets chasing back the lead and one time he passes him, even in the Luigi he seems to break the first, but the two guys back to the game. We also learned that they're real Minnesota and the Canada but even not the only field in the left. So Luigi plays. Once again, Luigi and Yusuke are visiting on all their players, and today we're celebrating their birthday. Luigi starts shooting nails from the ceiling, and the family suddenly remembers it's also Soichi's birthday. He refuses to join them, and they go around the home. Luigi starts up his first reports, and as they're lifting on the ring, Luigi trips and falls. Although he somehow manages to avoid smashing his face into the table, he could have sworn someone tripped him. Each of them mentions that it's 25 Soichi about to break up in the family, but they explain that Soichi was actually very much like his grandma. Soichi tells him that she was a very strange woman, always having terminations that never came true. When Soichi was born, he predicted that it would be twins, and when it grew to one child, he still acted like they were two babies. Soichi and brother who she called Soichi. After small child, Soichi would even play with Soji as an imaginary friend, until one day the grandmother said she would put his baby on the wall, and never returned. That night, Ichima opens a closet to see their grandmother sitting there. He freaks out and tells the family, but before they find no trace of her. Soichi tells Ichima that every year on his birthday, Grandma and Soji visit him, and that they have a party. He also says that they hate Ichima, and who knows what they'll do to her. As you would expect, Ichima isn't back to talk about how the grandma got bored with being again with Soichi. At the same time, Soichi returns to his room, and finds that Ichima has left a piece of paper for him. Suddenly, the school's in. It seems in a rare moment, Soichi has called out the code of the okay, this one's different. It takes place a little bit after that school, as Soichi and his siblings work a little bit older. It also is mostly from Soichi's perspective, so we get a better look at his cycle. It is Soichi running around the career, and we're holding his hand at the Myth Wukong. So Soichi is seeing the top level for himself at that military level, and having a GPA. He compares himself to Soichi. He sees it when he makes the assumption that the first two girls that he has to Lisa, they must have been broken. They know he wants her to feel that he lives in fact, although he doesn't live there, he can break up with the girl. He's not having all these things for the back. Everything Soichi sits in the car and takes his family. He takes the car and everyone is consistent. He then says, unexceptional, unexceptional. Soichi's fine with them, not understanding what the word unexceptional is. Soichi looks up in the picture and realizes he's better with it. Also, the look of the girl is he feels a picture from natural life. This is like me. First cut his coat, and he should come back with an idea for a hibernation. The girl seems very dull up to his head. Some kids are talking about it when Lord Orphan's been missing. You may see a pretty scary man walking about the world. Quickly he runs his hand and his out of sight to making dollars into his seat. He then summons a pack of something out of the bag and punches into the missing door. Luckily the kid survives, but Soichi takes it to the other to an out of his hand. He notices Green is after his child and it's like breaking down the relationship dynamic and it's pretty kids can stop, but it's unclear whether Soichi really does not break inside or if this is yet another delusion. The approach of one kid, Nishibata, is having the most conviction from why I'm not full person as a baby. If he can really reach it out for it, then he will dance for it, and he's simply not off. As the friends talk, they witness the owner of the steelworks watching at the giant Teresa. Talking is how Soichi is tortured to see the Zainu with his father. Soichi intervenes and eventually Soichi with it instead of photo up in the room, and this requires him to practice out of first and black. First, he takes a beauty out of the stomach, causing to out of the go to the bathroom, and then he drops a rubber spider onto the doll's rack. After I push the straw, he then sees him the plant spider fall over the door and knock over it. In reality, he simply shows up, and the man says he's taking Soichi to the police, but Koichi points out that the bear traps he puts out are illegal, and so the man lets him go free, realizing he would get in trouble as well. When we get home, Soichi is very related him, and is excited to check in on his little pets who have been a few days. When he opens the candy box, he finds that they're filled with such a good Next is the three-layered room. In this story, Koichi is studying for his final exams, but can't concentrate as Soichi keeps pestering him to be noisy. Finally stopping, he chases Soichi down, who claims he was only running to the bathroom and not out of guilt. Turns out this is partially true, as Soichi can't hold it and lets himself. Well, this is the point when the boy's father decides something must be done. He calls out the friend uses construction to soundproof the room so he can be distracted by Soichi. But then he says that it takes money. He really has no idea what a Western coffin looks like, as he makes one that is a straight-up hexagon. Soichi laughs in his face, and Koichi tells him to show the old guy some respect, locking him in the hexagon coffin. That night, their grandpa died, and the kids mention how bad they feel that their grandpa spent his last days catering to Soichi's dumb wishes. As the family gives their condolences, Soichi is crying his eyes out over his grandpa's death. He even begins chanting a resurrection spell over the body. Turns out that Soichi is not so upset over his grandpa's death, but more the fact that he will no longer get his Dracula coffin. Michino wakes up that night needing to go to the bathroom when she sees something horrifying. Her grandpa now is zombie building a coffin downstairs. The old man sees her and begins laughing as he approaches. Now that's scary. On a separate note, Michino needs to quit walking around at night, stop drinking liquids 2 hours before bed, or just hold it or something, because every time this chick gets up to pee, she sees something freaky. Anyway, she cries for help, and when the adults arrive, there's no one around. They look inside the coffin to find Soichi, who says Michino must just be seeing things. However, at the funeral service the next day, everyone notices a strange old man amongst the group. They look closer to see that it is in fact Grandpa, somehow resurrected as a zombie, and everyone freaks out running away. After that, the family lives in fear as Grandpa comes up to the house night after night, building dozens of coffins for Soichi, who is extremely picky. I didn't expect that ending. Usually it would have ended after Michino saw the zombie, but the fact that everyone witnessed it and are now seeing it on a daily basis is pretty crazy. Next is Rumors. Rumors takes place primarily at Soichi's school. It starts with Soichi looking through a magazine and mentioning that one of the models looks pretty creepy. For the most part, though, we follow a girl named Midori who's in competition with another girl named Madoka as the cutest girl in class. They also both happen to like the same boy, Otsuka. She mentions how creepy Soichi is with his mouth nails and random muttering. That week, rumors begin spreading about Soichi, that maybe he's not quite as gloomy as everyone thought. The rumors range from him hitting a home run at a baseball game, saving a boy from getting hit by a car, and having a celebrity cousin. Everyone begins praising Soichi for all his good deeds and begging him to get them an autograph from his famous cousin. Meanwhile, Midori's crush, Otsuka, is in the hospital after getting weird stomach pain, probably another Soichi curse. Midori is disappointed to find that she's not the only one who's brought flowers to Otsuka. Madoka is there as well, and their rivalry intensifies. Back at school, Midori finds Soichi sneaking around and whispering rumors to groups of people. The most recent being that Midori is in love with him. The class is going crazy with the hot new rumor that Soichi and Midori are, quote, doing it. And Midori's finally had enough. She tells the class that Soichi has been spreading the rumors and that none of them are likely true. Soichi then pulls out a supposed autograph by his cousin, but he clearly did it himself, even spelling the name wrong. With this, the class realizes it was all a sham. A few days later, a magazine cutout of a model is pinned to the classroom blackboard. This model looks disturbing, and if you remember from back in the Shiver collection, this is none other than Fuji. Soon the school is flooded with rumors about the model chasing after kids all over town. The rumors say that this model has come to the small town because of the local swamp. Supposedly, soaking in the swamp is good for the skin. The teacher tells the kids that these are all just stories, relating it to Kuchisake Onna or the Slipmouth woman. Otsuka has returned from the hospital, and a rumor has spread that Madoka has been visiting the swamp to get better skin, hoping to attract him. Midori doesn't want to come up second and decides in order to compete, she must visit the swamp as well. As she enters the cold, slimy bog, Soichi appears with a camera and begins taking her picture. He laughs as he tells her that he made up all the rumors, hoping to lure her here. Suddenly, something begins to rise out of the swamp. A head emerges from the water, and we see that it's actually Fuji. As she comes up covered in mud, she spits out a frog and turns her attention towards Soichi. She's pretty pissed that he's taking photos of her, assuming that he's paparazzi, and she shows her sharp teeth, saying, "Your flesh looks tender and tasty." Midori takes the opportunity to escape and wonders whether Soichi is okay as she runs away. So these next two stories are pretty interesting as they feature an adult Soichi. As I mentioned, these two stories, along with Soichi's beloved pet, were actually published in the Smash collection. You can still read them independently of the other stories, but I think they're more interesting when you're familiar with the characters, so let's get to it now. The Mystery of the Haunted House. One day, an advertising van appears in a small town promoting a new haunted house. Koichi and his friend Satoshi are intrigued despite the creepy guy who runs it. They also learn that the attraction costs 10,000 yen to enter, which is the equivalent of $70 US, and this was released in 2004 originally. One guy's pretty pissed about the price, but the owner assures him that it is worth the price of admission, saying that if the man isn't scared, they'll give him his money back. So the man enters, and a short time later comes out of the house screaming and running away. Well, I guess it's pretty scary. The news spreads around town, and many people try it out. The thing is, the people who have entered got so scared that they actually lost their minds. At one point, a police officer shows up to investigate on behalf of the disturbed patrons, as well as reports that there may be a child chained up inside. The owner happily allows the officer to take a look around. Meanwhile, Koichi and Satoshi sneak up to the haunted house at night, hoping to try it out for free. As they approach the house, they hear some terrible noises from inside. The owner then appears. He admires their guts for trying to sneak in and allows the boys to enter for free. They walk inside and find that the first room is pretty cliche haunted house stuff, with fake papier-mâché heads lying around, except for one that looks eerily realistic. Suddenly its eye opens, and she begins singing a strange song, saying her brother set up this haunted house, and it's too bad she can't lend a hand. In the next room, they find an old woman standing in a well, saying, "Welcome to my son's haunted house." They then see a sign that reads "Hell Ahead," and see a bloody pond with an old man's head poking out, saying, "Hello, I'm his father. I hope you enjoy the house." The kids speculate that this must be a family-run establishment, and sure enough, next they encounter the owner's older brother. He's pinned to a crucifix and begs the boys to let him down, saying he can't take it anymore. He says his brother isn't normal, and he's been this way since he was a kid, always cursing people. Here we see with the surprise, the owner is actually Soichi all grown up. Apparently, Soichi has learned more advanced magic and uses it to control his family into doing whatever he wants. He also mentioned that Soichi has a child chained up ahead, and that the child's father was even stranger than Soichi. In fact, Soichi is afraid of him. Soichi shows up at this point and stops his brother from talking. Well, these dumb kids still think it's all just part of the attraction, until they stumble upon the policeman from earlier dead and torn to pieces. chases by a young child. This, of course, is Soichi's bastard offspring, looking like a sort of demon with sharp teeth. He lunges at the kids, telling them he can't wait to eat them, and he pounces on Sagoshi, taking a huge bite out of his neck. Koichi is terrified and runs away, leaving his friend behind. He runs out of the house, but Soichi chases him, shooting nails out of his mouth, one of which hits Koichi square in the ass, just like Soichi back in the teacher of class days. As Soichi moves in, ready to kill the boy, a sudden look of fear spreads across his face. He looks up to see a tall and dark figure approach. It's Fuchi. She says, "I finally found you, my darling. The next time you run from me, you won't live to regret it." She grabs him by the collar and carries him away. Yeah, so apparently Fuchi is the mother of Soichi's child. I mean, what a crazy connection. Next is the mystery of the haunted house, Soichi's version. So this tale is basically the same premise as the last. Soichi has traveled to a different town and has set up the haunted house, only this time we follow a familiar face, Soichi's cousin, Michina. She's now an adult and has spent the last 10 years trying to track down her cousins who mysteriously went missing. After searching a small town with no luck, she stays at a bed and breakfast. While eating dinner, the woman running the place has to chase down her son, who's running wildly through the dining room. She finally pins him down and gives him a spanking, and when she does, nails shoot out of his mouth and into the wall. The boy turns and grins with a nail-filled smile, not unlike Soichi. The mother explains that he used to be a good boy, but started acting like this after visiting a trailing haunted house. Later, Michina sees a strange newspaper article about many similar cases popping up around the country, with children suddenly becoming rebellious and shooting nails out of their mouths. She tracks the most recent incidents to the town of Tohoku. As she exits the train, she sees a group of kids with hammers nailing straw dolls to trees, much like Soichi once did. After asking around, she gets directions to the haunted house and makes her way up to the mountains. On the trail, she encounters a wild-eyed old man. He begs her to help him, saying he finally managed to escape, but his family is still in the haunted house. He leads Michina towards the house, explaining that the owner is a demon who cursed his family, and mentions the horrifying child that's chained up inside. Michina mentions her name and that she's looking for her family. This stops the man dead in his tracks, and he tells her to please go away before taking off again. Michina then starts speculating that this man might have been her cousin, Koichi, but he's aged so horribly that she didn't recognize him. She enters the haunted house to find Soichi beating his brother, and she demands he stop. Soichi recognizes Michina and explains how powerful he's become, as he curses every child in the country with his haunted house. Michina demands that he let his family go, and Soichi replies that if she can take them back, then go right ahead, as he drags Koichi to another room. Michina chases after, but can't find them. She then hears an ominous growling and finds Soichi's son in the cage. She also finds her other cousin, Sayuri, who explains that the boy ate her parents. The boy stares at them and reaches for Michina, saying he wants to eat her living organs. Soichi enters the room and tells her that his son is named Benzo, and that he has no choice but to let Michina be his food. He demands Koichi to throw Michina into Benzo's cage, and due to the magic, he can't help himself from obeying. As he grabs Michina, she begs him to come back to his senses and recalls some of the beautiful memories they had together during the summer break as kids when she would visit. Somehow, this seems to have broken the curse, and Koichi stops attacking her, as well as looking quite a bit younger all of a sudden. Koichi declares that they will not listen to Soichi anymore, and if he loves Benzo so much, he can take care of him, as he knocks the boy's cage open. Benzo bites into Soichi's back, and as he runs outside the house, he encounters Fuchi once more. She says, "You ran away from me again. I can't forgive you this time," as she closes her gigantic mouth around his head. On the next page, a young Soichi wakes from a nightmare. Yeah, apparently this was all a dream, and we see Michina, Yusuke, and their cousins eat some watermelon on a happy summer vacation. Yeah, that was a strange one, and it has one of the few happy endings in this whole series. Soichi's beloved pet. Well, since it turned out that the future stuff was all a dream, these last two stories are back to following a young Soichi. In this story, Sayuri finds a stray cat while walking home from school and begs her parents to keep it. The cat is having a good time exploring the house until it runs into Soichi, who creeps out with a mouthful of nails. The cat turns away from him and literally farts in his face, so Soichi shoots nails at the poor thing and then chases it with a noose, dragging it by the neck. Sayuri catches him and slaps the shit out of him, along with the cat scratching his face. Soichi lays in on Soichi, saying that people who torture animals end up being murderers. After this, Soichi finds a dead snake on the road and curses it. He then uses the snake's body like a toy for the cat to play with. Before his siblings can stop him, the cat grabs the snake and begins eating it. After this, the cat starts acting really wild, tearing up the walls, as well as eating random insects, and even finds an unusual creature that that seems like a straight from hell. Even weirder, the cat seems to be quite friendly with Soichi. One day, the family can't find the cat, and as they search, the air seems to be filled with cat fur. They find the cat sitting on Soichi's lap, shedding a ton of fur, and also looking worse for the wear, with sharp teeth and wild eyes. As Sayuri approaches the cat, it hisses violently, causing her to cry and run away. Next, Koichi tries to grab it and produces a huge electric